okay. As far as injuries are concerned, Steve will be a DNP today. He's going to do some stuff with Reggie and his guys. Braden Fisk will be the same. Davante will have a veteran rest day, as will Rob Havenstein, and then Colby Parkinson will be limited. So looking forward to seeing how things go today for Steve and Braden, and really Colby. Those are the guys that will truly, hopefully see some good progress and see if they'll be available for this week. But everybody else, we should be good.
Obviously, different teams, different seasons, different parts of the season.
Yep.
But can you guys draw something from that playoff game and take it into this?
Well, I think you can. There's continuity in their schemes. And I know Kevin Petula is their offensive coordinator now, but it's the same defensive coordinator, same special teams coordinator. Nick is obviously heavily involved in the offense, and Kevin's been heavily involved too. So, you certainly use that. The 2 games of inventory are really valuable. Then they obviously played the Super Bowl, the NFC Championship, and we played them in the divisional round. But every single year is a new year. They have some new personnel in different spots, but there are some consistent things. And then, there's the elements of that weather that you have to be cognizant of. But it is part of our preparation, but it's going to be about how well we play, and looking forward to seeing if we can take a step going into week 3. I thought we did from week 1 to week 2. It's early on. It's a great football team. We're looking forward to the challenge.
How are you feeling?
I feel good. It's actually better. I think, you hear the word torn plantar fascia. It had been bothering me for a little bit, where I was a little bit restricted, and then I went to just explode down the sidelines for a timeout, and that thing popped in my heel, and it was temporarily painful, but it actually feels a lot better now. So it's a positive that I tore my plantar fascia. That's a good thing because it accelerates the healing. So there's no issues for me. I regret telling my man JB that, where it became a bigger deal than what it was. But there is, I did have to hop down there, and I got the damn timeout, even on one leg. So, no, I'm doing good, though. I appreciate it.
So you're saying it was intensity, not age?
I'm telling you, it was because of the pure just twitch that I still had, that thing just snapped. So I'm back. I'm ready to go. No, the surgery, fortunately, that's, usually what they do is they break it when they do surgery or tear it. So we're in good shape. Fortunately, I don't play like I mentioned, but I feel good, really good. So appreciate it.
Back-to-back road games, that can be sometimes daunting.
Yeah.
Do you guys factor that in this week, the way you practice?
I think you do with our rhythm, but you don't make it a bigger deal than what it is. Like we've talked about, Kurt, it's about, hey, how do you go play in that 3-hour window that you're allotted? We thought our guys were ready to go, last week against Tennessee. We're used to this. Me personally, I love kicking off early. You don't have a chance to sit around and think about stuff. You get up, get a little caffeine, get some sun on your face, and you're woken up and you're ready to roll. So I'm excited about it. We all know what a great atmosphere and environment it is in Philly, what a great football team it is, and this is what you love, and our guys are looking forward to the challenge.
And when you look at Jalen Hurts, statistically, I think when he's at the switch, they haven't lost in September.
Yeah, it's unbelievable.
What do you see?
He's a winner. He's a winner. He's a competitor. What I respect about them is they play the game on their terms. They know how they want to be able to play, and it's not exclusive to offense or defense or in teams. It's all 3 together. They play team football. They know the style of play that they want to be able to play with. Jalen takes great care of the football. He can beat you with his arm, legs, or his mind. And he's a winner, and he's a great competitor, and so I got a ton of respect for this football team. We obviously have a lot of familiarity with them, playing them twice last year, and that being so early in this season. But every single year is a new year. We're looking forward to it, but nothing but respect coming from me for them.
Sean, Saquon Barkley, what do you feel like is going to be key to keeping him from getting some of the explosive gains he got last year?
Yeah, you don't want to allow him vertical seams. He's so damn dynamic, and he's so explosive, and if he gets a vertical seam and he gets clean to the second and third levels, he's as special of a slash runner as there is. He's so explosive because of the speed and the ability to finish. I think he's really good in close quarters. You see why he had more production, when you look at his season combined than there ever was in the history of this league. He was excellent. He obviously did a lot of great things against us in both games that he played. And so, like it always will be, it's going to be a big emphasis on, playing 11 as one, being able to swarm to the football. Easier said than done, but I know our guys are excited.
Sean, this offense had, some explosive runs of their own this past game. Do you attribute that to, the fresh legs of the Corum and Kyron split, or was there something else that you guys were trying to do to create those?
I thought our guys played, well. And I mean, I think when you run the football well, Wyatt, it's a combination of a lot of things. I think all 11 have to contribute. That's the quarterback getting us in and out of the right things. That's receivers, tight ends, and offensive linemen, doing what they're supposed to do. And then that's the backs being able to read it out and trust, where's the point of attack, what's the intent. But I thought both Kyron and Blake, you look at it and you see, Puka has a big explosive run on the, 4th down and 1. Thought Blake did an excellent job. You could see those, on that 4-play drive where the 3rd play represented a big explosion from him. And then in the 2nd down and 10, those were excellent runs. I thought Kyron had some excellent runs in 4 minute. So it's always about the team, but I thought those guys did a really nice job. And, it was very good to see. Any good offense that I've been a part of has the ability to do both. And if defenses want to commit to one or the other, the good offenses can make them pay. You're still playing 11 on 11, and no different than when defense has some good things that they're doing. There still are some different holes or voids or vacancies or things that they leave themselves susceptible. No different than us, from an offensive perspective. So I was really pleased with that. They did a good job slowing us down a little bit earlier, and I thought we played with better fundamentals and techniques as the game went on. And we're going to have to do that earlier in the game if we want to be able to get the result we want against a great opponent this week.
You spoke about the calluses that you hope the team would build and those extra long periods.
Yep.
How have you seen that in these first 2 weeks as the team found different ways to win?
I think you just mentioned it. I think we are a resilient team. We've faced adversity, and adversity is inevitable, whether it's in a game, in a season, for a lot of different reasons. But we've had some adversity that we've had to deal with in each of the last 2 games, but the guys stayed steady. We always talk about not flinching. We talk about staying in the moment, doing the next right thing. I think there's a lot of belief, and I think there's a lot of guys, because of the care and the appreciation they have for one another, where, hey, they don't want to let each other down. I think they really enjoy celebrating each other's successes, and I think we lean into those hard moments knowing that if we can continue to develop those calluses and continue to be resilient and be mentally tough in the midst of those moments, that's going to serve us well as we continue to accumulate experience and come together as a team where hopefully you're always improving, even though you might not always get those results that you want, and that's an important thing for us.
How did you guys identify Tre Brown as a fit for the cornerback room, and what do you think he can bring as he gets acclimated?
He's a guy that, just coaching against him, physical, stout at the point of attack, has good short space quickness and lateral agilities. So there's a familiarity having gone against him when he's in Seattle. And then I think he brings some speed to the perimeter, where he can do some different things, hopefully to potentially help us on special teams. I thought Darius did a great job coming up and making a handful of plays. Obviously, Forbes and the Kobe did a great job, in that game. I can't say enough about what a great job really our back end as a whole did. I thought Coach Beek with the safeties, Quentin Lake really shined. Cam Curls had 2 really good games, as has Cam Kitchens. Jalen McCullough comes in and does an excellent job. But, Aubrey and Coach Beek and Coach Harris and Coach Shula, I think our back 7, I think our defense as a whole has been excellent, but back 7's done really well, and looking forward to adding Tre to that mix.
Because they're 2-0 and the defending champs, is there such thing as a measuring stick game at week 3, or is that just something all of us look at?
I think it's a fun narrative. I mean, this is a great team, and so I think every week is a measuring stick. Every week when you get out there and you go play in this competitive league, every opportunity you have is a measuring stick, Gerard, and I know you know that, but is this a great challenge? You're damn right it is. I got tremendous respect for their coaches, their players. They've gotten after us. They've gotten the results that they wanted, and you can see it's a combination of a lot of great things that they have going there. And they're 2-0, and they beat 2 really quality football teams to start this season. But we're looking forward to going and compete and swing, and we're this is what you love about this league, is the opportunity to be able to go have every single week a chance to be able to go put it all out there, not be afraid of whatever the consequences are, but let's go swing and see what happens.
Sean, as we see more of Blake Corum, what's been the growth that you've seen from last year to this year?
Yeah, I just think when you look at guys like him, Maria, he's just such a conscientious guy. The game makes sense, and he enjoys playing. I'm seeing a guy that's just totally present and really just, understanding what we're trying to get done. Repetition is the mother of learning, but when you're conscientious like him and you start to accumulate that knowledge, now you can really just allow yourself to go play. Trust your instincts, trust your teammates. I think, anytime that you're able to have some successful outcomes because it's been earned, that can lead to the confidence moving forward. And he's just got a great humility about himself. And so, you talk about Kyron, you talk about Blake. I love both of those guys, feel really good about our running back situation. Ron does an excellent job, and then you look at it, we're really lucky to have Ronnie Rivers on the practice squad, and Jarquez Hunter has done an excellent job of, conscientious, continuing to learn. You talk about a guy that approaches practice the right way. So that's a credit to that group as a whole, but I love what Blake did and excited to see him continue to grow just by being himself. Okay, this feels good. In my left foot. You would never know, though. I'll be flying around now. Thanks, guys.
Ask you how your back was feeling.
Feeling good. I'm doing good. Came out of that one unscathed, so I'm ready to go.
With the progression that you guys have made from week 1 to week 2, is this week the perfect challenge for the offense?
I mean, every week's a challenge. It's the NFL. You go out there. Doesn't matter who you're playing. You're up against, the best of the best from college football that have, made their way to the NFL. So it'll be another challenge for us. Obviously, Philadelphia is a really good football team, defending champions, and we're going to their place. So it'll be a huge challenge for us, like every week is. But yeah, definitely have a ton of respect for them. Very talented team, really well coached. Do a really nice job.
How long did it take you in the offseason to mentally, emotionally get over that loss and being so close?
Good question. I didn't really try to keep track of it, to be honest with you. But yeah, definitely. Anytime, the closer you get, and if you don't get there, it stings. So, you look back at the tape, you watch some of that from this week, just because it was the most recent time that we played them, and realized that we were close in a lot of areas, and then a lot of areas we need to clean up as well. So, difficult loss, like they all are, but especially that late in the season, for sure, it's one that sticks with you a little bit.
And obviously, early last year, we were talking a lot about red zone. Every year is different. Every game is different. How do you view that going into this week, learning from last week?
Yeah, I mean, I think, it just comes down to executing and obviously the keys to the red zone, taking care of the football, running the football, and then when you get opportunities in the pass game to make them, go ahead and make them. And, we didn't do some of that. We did it sometimes, and we scored touchdowns. We didn't do it other times. We didn't. I don't know if you're ever going to be 100% throughout a season, but you just try every single time you get down there to make sure you ratchet up the intensity on executing it and doing it with physicality, and we do that, we'll be in a good place.
Despite their success, the Eagles secondary is still pretty young overall. Where have you seen the growth from them? No, it's just week 3, but since the last time you faced them.
Yeah, I mean, I think the guys that were, rookies last year, or young guys last year, are doing a heck of a job. I thought they played great last year, to be honest with you, and it feels like they've kind of, picked up right where they left off. A couple new pieces in the back end, but guys that are really talented. Dory's been in the league for a long time. He's played for, a bunch of years and had, a bunch of battles against him, so he's a really talented player as well. And the young kid they got in at safety looks to be the part as well. It's probably his 3rd NFL game coming up, so there's things you're always going to learn and do as you go along. But I think when you look at them top to bottom, they're really, really talented on the defensive side of the ball.
Quarterbacks around the league, you're dealing with injuries. For him, it's very early in his career. He's dealt with that. I know you dealt with injuries early in your career. Is there anything you learned from that, and maybe is there a way to help him at all later in your career?
I don't know. I think looking back on mine, it was a long time ago, trying to remember it. But no, I mean, sometimes I think, guys are out because it's an injury that is frankly unlucky. They can't play with it. There's plenty of injuries out there that guys go down with a rolled ankle, or they got this, that, or the other, and they can continue to play through it. It sounds like, I'm not talking about one specific person, but there's plenty of guys out there that, just are unable to play through it, and that's part of it. It's unfortunate. It's not a fun part of the game. You spend so much time, I know those guys did, preparing their body and their mind to get ready to play a full NFL season and lead their teams, and when you're not out there, it's tough and it's disappointing, but I'm sure those guys will do everything they can to get back.
When Puka and Davante have both been out there together these first 2 games, what have you noticed about how each of their skill sets not only complement the other, but also just the way that opens up opportunities for each player?
Yeah, I mean, it's nice being me, It's nice being me and lining up and knowing that we got 2 guys that really got more than 2, but those 2 guys have done a heck of a job in the last couple years. Obviously, Davante a little bit a few more years than Puka, but done a great job in the last couple of years making big plays, and that's what's showing up to me. These guys are, when they're getting their opportunities to make plays, they're making great ones. Puka, unbelievable run. That wasn't even a pass thrown to him, but unbelievable run on a short yardage play we had where he scored it from 45. Davante had a number of great catches and did a great job, getting loose for that touchdown late. So I feel lucky. I know. I'm not every quarterback in the league gets to drop back and throw it and hand it off to the guys that we have, and so I feel good about that.
You're throwing to a receiver in a game. How much are you thinking or processing their preferences as far as ball placement and things like that in real time versus it being second nature in the moment?
No, I don't think it's that. I think any ball that I throw to them, they're probably fired up about. As a receiver, just general rule, they like it when they throw it to them. More so, what can I do to help the play? Am I trying to tell a guy to slow down by throwing it on his back shoulder? Am I telling him he's got room in front by throwing it out in front? Or am I offsetting it from a defender he can't see? Those are the things more so than hey, I'm trying to, Davante likes him on his shoelaces to go and pick him up off the ground, right? I don't think, he's probably fired up on throwing him the ball, but second of all, I'm sure he would like it, more on the face mask. Although the last week probably needed to be in a down and away spot. But no, I think more so just trying to, how can I help the play be successful, whether that's out in front, behind, doing anything I can. And I'm not always going to hit it right where I want it, but that's the thought.
Is there a key to scoring on the first drive other than execution? I mean, when you watch all the NFL games on Sunday, let's face it, offenses don't score on the first drive, at least a touchdown, more often than they get stopped.
Yeah, I would say, sometimes you go out there and you line up and you execute perfectly. They play exactly what you think they're gonna play, and it looks and feels exactly like what you thought it might feel like. And other times, you may not execute the right way, or it looks completely different, or a myriad of things. So it could be anything. There is sometimes a feeling out period in a game. Other times it's like you line up and you go, oh man, it's exactly what we thought. Here we go, let's roll. And then it boils down to just executing and making plays. Not every play call is called into the perfect defense, and I might have to check one down or move it around. So the better I can do at that, of keeping the ball in play and giving our guys opportunities, the better. But I think probably around the league, that's why you look and see that. Hey, this is what we think is going to happen, or this is what we think might work, or hey, let's see where this end is playing, or that tackle is playing, or whatever it is. And sometimes you got to punt, or you kick a field goal, or whatever it is on the first drive, just trying to figure out what to do next.
Think about going up against the big Fangio defense. Just what kind of stands out about just his approach and what makes his defense kind of unique?
Yeah, I mean, he's as good as there is doing it, has been for a long time. Had a lot of games against teams that he's coached, either as a head coach or on the defensive side of the ball. Ton of respect for who he is as a coach, the way he sets up his players to be successful. They got a ton of talent on that defense at the moment, and they're doing a hell of a job letting those guys go play. When you look at his defenses, they're multiple. He'll match personnel, he won't match personnel. He'll pressure certain games, not pressure other games. He does a really nice job of mixing it up, keeping you on your toes, and making you think as a quarterback and as a coordinator.
When you play Super Bowl champs in week 3, does this feel like a measuring stick game for this team?
I mean, anytime I put the pads on, I feel like that. It doesn't matter who we're playing. You go out there and prove it as a team, prove it as a player every single time we go out there on Sunday. Doesn't matter who we're playing. Obviously, like I said earlier, a ton of respect for the Eagles, their coaches, their players, what they've been able to accomplish in the last couple of years. So it's obviously a great opportunity. It's going to be, I'm sure, a great environment there in Philly, and be a big challenge for us.
Yeah, it just keeps these defenses honest, and it makes it to where they gotta, play it out pretty true. And if you want to double any person down there, it's just gonna make the opportunity for another player a lot easier. So it just kind of, like I say, it just makes them play it honest. At this point, we got a lot of players at each position. Multiple running backs, multiple receivers, multiple tight ends that can make it happen. And obviously, we know who our quarterback is. So anytime we got an opportunity to have a one-on-one, Sean's going to find that, and hopefully we'll be able to capitalize.
As long as you've been playing in this league, how do you describe playing in Philadelphia?
It's a beast. Their fans are intense. The team is always good, so it's always a good challenge.
Matthew Matthew Stafford in the above the neck stuff in the preseason.
Yeah.
How did that kind of materialize now to when you see yourself on the field physically making the catches and working with Matthew?
I mean, it doesn't always carry over exactly because every play is going to be different, but it gives you a chance at, being ahead of the game. So anytime we can talk through certain things, we had a few things that happened actually in practice, and then we saw it in the game and were able to hit on it. So even the touchdown that I had, it was, the play that was called to look a little bit different than the way it played out, just based off the coverage we had, the way they've been playing, me throughout the majority of the game. Things change, and it just gives you opportunity to adjust kind of on the fly, and I feel like that's what this team does well, is just kind of counter punching and taking what the defense gives you.
Those conversations kind of seem to replay in your mind.
Yeah, I mean, I sometimes will have it may not be always a conversation, but there may be a play that was similar that I had before, something in practice where I'll kind of within the play think about it. The ball go in the air. I've had multiple plays like that in my career where I'll run the deep route and the ball be in the air, and it'll feel so much like a play that I've had before where you almost have deja vu, actively during the game, where you can still focus, but it's like a quick flash of I've been here before a little bit.
That catch off the turf that you were talking about, Matthew threw it kind of sidearm to get it there. At this point, are you surprised in the moment that he's attempting that and trying to make that throw, or are you already kind of expecting that?
I mean, I wasn't expecting him to do it exactly how he did, but you expect that. I mean, with the confidence he has, and he has earned the right to be confident the way that he is. I mean, he's been throwing the ball like that since he got in his league, and 17 years later, still, spinning the same way. So, never surprised when he's throwing it, but some of the arm angles maybe sometimes it'll throw me off. But yeah, I'm always ready, and I think everybody else kind of understands the type of player he is to be ready as well.
Changed his approach to training camp this year with more month periods. How have you felt the benefit of that as you guys have gone about these first 2 weeks of the season?
I mean, I've kind of had something similar to this before, and I think it's a great tool because obviously in camp you get all this time where you go good on good or ones-on-ones, and you don't have as many opportunities when you start getting into the regular season. So, and the fact that it's only 2-3 plays, maybe even 1 play sometimes, it just raises the intensity, makes it feel more game-like, because obviously every game, every play in practice doesn't feel like it's as important as that 1 play you get in the game. So if you can kind of minimize the sample size and make it where it counts a lot more, guys got to run, whichever side of the ball doesn't, win in that drill. It just kind of, like I said, it raises the intensity for you, raises it in your mind, and kind of makes you play a little bit harder knowing that you only have that, few plays to prove yourself.
When you have conversations with Matthew on the sideline or in the locker room as you guys are discussing what happened in the first half, what did you learn about him and how he communicates?
Well, he's just, like I said, he's just the chillest dude. Like, his whole personality, the way he walks around is the way that he carries himself within a football game, which, it's different, but it's awesome. Honestly, it's fun for me, just because, things happen over the course of the game, and I'm an emotional dude too. So when I see that, sometimes it kind of reminds me to chill out and, take a deep breath and move on to the next play. So anytime your fearless leader can go out there and kind of show you better than he tells you, that's obviously going to affect the rest of the team.
You had back-to-back cross-country trips that you wouldn't do during a standard between phases.
No, I mean, you get used to it. You get used to traveling and understanding that it's not really as big of a deal. Obviously, we'd much rather have all the home games, not having to get on the plane and add that extra inflammation to the body and having to extra hydrate and there's things like that. So I guess drinking a little bit more water or, whatever it is that your hydration of choice, that's something that's obviously important when you're traveling like that. They say a bottle of water for every hour you're in the air. I've heard that before, and then I heard that echoed here when I got here. So just small things like that, but nothing too crazy.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Yep.